Friday, May 15th, and I wanted to follow up from some of the things that I had said on Monday and had an interesting response to some of the things I'd said on the devotional because they were probably a little more practical. So here we are back exactly where I talked before. My room where I study and do things, it's a little messy, getting messy. My hair is getting a little messy. Everything is just getting a little scraggly in my life. And so as I've been thinking about some of the things I said, I want to talk a little bit more about how to work through fatigue and things like that. Now, these are the ways that I do it. So you kind of have to figure out the way that you do it. Many times people look at me and they think that I might be X, Y, or Z. Like some people might think I'm really, really extroverted, but those who know me know that I'm just kind of slightly extroverted. So it's easy for me to be in a room and read, but every once in a while I get kind of fed up with that. And it's also really easy for me to be around and with people, but as all people are, I get tired of that at times and need to go and be by myself. And so it goes back and forth. But I tend to like to be around people. And this particular time that we're in has eliminated most of that. And so, like a lot of us, I've felt really fatigued and trying to figure out why that was. And so one of the things that I've realized that I need to do is to do what I talked about on Monday, which is to be living in the present moment. And it's hard because some of the things that really help me are to be outside and to be away. And it's been hard to do that because it's been hard to escape to different kinds of places. So here's something that happened to me yesterday and made me just think about being present. I took a walk in Lake Harbor Park. And you can do this great loop. You can go north and there's a boundary up a dune and down and walk along the beach and then walk along the Norton Shores channel and up and back toward where I live. And so as I was heading back, crossing the parking lot that's at Lake Harbor Park, I climbed up the dune and climbed up on what I would call the Ridge Trail. And then there was a trail going down. And so I was like, I've never been on that trail, so I'll go down that trail. And as I went down, I saw a bird swoop down and up. And it was a big bird. I knew it was some sort of bird of prey, probably a hawk. So as I saw it land, I just kind of marked where it was and sort of started walking slowly. You basically, with a bird of prey, you don't want to creep up on it too fast, but they're not really afraid of you because they're the king of the forest. And as I got closer, I realized it was an owl. And I did a little bit of work on a Seek app that Lori Carlson had used and just sort of focused in on it, and it came up as a barred owl. And I could have just taken that picture and moved on. I was a little bit mad that I hadn't brought my big camera with my big telephoto, but I decided that I would just sit there and watch it. And the owl was really interesting, of course, because it just kept turning its head, and we can only turn this way, but it kept turning its head another, 90 degrees, and then it would turn back this way and turn its head another 90 degrees, and you'd see the back of its head. And I'd never seen anything like it. And I just kept watching it and watching it. And there's a part of me that was like, hey, you got to get home, got to get away. But I kept thinking to myself, no, I don't think I'm going to be able to see this very often. And I posted a little video on social media, and somebody who's a good bird watcher just said, I've never seen an owl in the wild. And I've seen two owls in the wild. One was a snowy owl and this barred owl in the middle of the day. And I just thought, this is really, really unusual. So I just stayed present to it and just kept watching it. And then, as birds of prey do, they don't just flit away. They kind of rise up on their haunches and then lift themselves up and go. And these images are in my mind, and they are really powerful for me. And I realized that after it was done, as I was walking home, I was tired from walking, but I was also refreshed in my mind to have focused on something else. So whatever it is that will refresh your mind by taking your mind off of this pandemic, whether it's fixing a motorcycle, which is what Justin Saxon would do, or it's reading a book, or it's taking a walk. There are times where we need to just move away from the constant influx of information into a state of rest in our mind. So I hope you're doing that. And I would really encourage you to do that. If you're like me, you need to take your mind off of the other stuff and put it on stuff that will help you in order that you can come back to what God's called you to do, whether it's work or it's loving your family or it's leading in a company or, as it is for me, being a pastor with people. So live in the present moment and find where God wants you to be. The Lord bless you today.